Tall buildings, as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun, as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, I had a little bit of a delay. Apparently, I had some tech issues. Hopefully, I do also have audio on right now. I should have, at least according to my streaming software. Hello, Manuela. Wonderful to see you. Literally, I had thought I had pressed on the live button, and I was like, something seems off. And well, clearly it was, because it said still like up in the corner flashing, hey, remember to go live. And I'm like, oh, right, live. Sorry about that. So I was literally chatting for a few minutes for nothing. I hope you're well. And I hope you're in the mood to hang out with me today. That's pretty much what it is. Yeah, I'm curious for sure. Let's see if I can get everything up running here. Okay. Good morning, Suzanne. Good morning. We are back to summertime here in Europe, which means that it is 2:11 p.m. Central European Time with a small delay. So it will be 8 a.m. Eastern in the US. Thank you, Manuela. I'm quite well. It's absolutely lovely weather here, a bit further north in the Netherlands. I am between Arnhem and Nijmegen, and here it is sunny without a single cloud on the sky. And honestly, I'd almost rather be outdoors. I will be completely honest about that. And the tulips in my garden, my friends, the tulips in my garden. I'm not sure if this is going to work or if I can better share, but I took a photo of it earlier this morning to send to my mom. And this, my friends, is the tulips in my garden right now. Look, they are so close to going into bloom. The flower buds are there. I'm all in spring mode. It's gorgeous weather. So really, I generally much rather sit outdoor right now on my terrace, enjoying the sun, crocheting. But it's Wednesday and we're live. And funny enough, when I'm here indoor, I feel a bit more chillier. But if I'm out there, I'm quite sure I wouldn't have my coat on. I would just be enjoying my sun. But yeah, actually, I think it's been quite a good week. Given circumstances, I think. I had the surprisingly third job interview, so the third interview or the third round of the interviews with the job I had applied to Monday, and they extended me a job offer. So as of 14th of April, I have a new job, which is great news. Particularly really great news because it's a job that really fits very well into my schedule right now, um, especially given the situation with my mother. It's quite perfect because it is 100% remote, at least as long as I perform and do and blah, 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 which is fair enough, right? As long as I do my job well, I don't need to go to the office. And they're also fine with me having to work occasionally from Denmark. Um, given the situation with my mom. So they are very understandable for life, basically. Yeah, so it's perfect. It's really great. And the scary thing is, I'm now realizing how poor of a job I had before. Because even though before I worked remote, I worked full time, 40 hours a week. And obviously I get full time pay for that. They were quite micromanagement. Full-time pay was, I don't know, yeah, compared to what I would get then. So, and compared to what I now will have to work not full time. So full time in the Netherlands is 40 hours a week. Or anything I think above 36 is considered full time. I think it is. But I was working 40 hours a week with my old boss and old job. I was working 100% remote also back then, which I really appreciated, and probably also the reason I kind of accepted how things were because of the flexibility of being able to work from home. The lack of transportation time and still having a full time job was really attractive, because obviously when you spend time to get to work, it's time that goes away from your free time. And then the real question is, how much value does your free time have when you work full time, right? So for me, I probably accepted a bit less circumstances for that sort of flexibility. Um, and I was at the office like 2 times in 3 years. So absolutely a bit of a luck, so to say. Um, but my new job, I also theoretically don't have to go to the office as if I do things well. I have to work only 24 hours a week, so that's part time, which I'm fine with. Actually, part time right now for me is good. I don't feel a need to work full time either, so in that sense, it's absolutely perfect. But the scary part is that my base salary on this new part time job is roughly the same as my start salary were with my old full time job back when I started in September 2021. That's scary. That is really scary. Of course, there's been some pay increases since and so on, but still, if we compare it more like today's money with my last paycheck I had, I'll be working 40% less and I only have like a 15% pay cut. I think that's a good deal. So I just got a pay increase, so to say, for less work and everything. So I'm quite happy. That is amazing. So that is great news. And they know the situation about my mom and they're fine with me going to Denmark when I need to do so. Now I just wait for my work stuff and to get onboarded, which is going to be in like, well, within the next 2 weeks. Another good thing, of course, with working part time, because I am able to put in the hours when I want, as long as they get done and preferably spread equally over the week, is that I can work in the morning and I can still go live here in the afternoon on Wednesdays when I'm home. So, hey, you're not going to miss out on me, even though that I will have a new job. So many good things. I'm so happy. Another good thing, I guess, is a short update on my mother is that, and she's also here. Hello. Is that we finally got a final diagnosis for her. She has Hodgkin's disease, which is a lymphoma type of cancer, and the prognosis should be good. Obviously, we don't know yet because treatment has begun. She will start treatment tomorrow, which will contain of at least 3 different types of chemotherapies. So it's gonna be a rough coming time, but hopefully she will stand strong in that too. And we will have to coordinate when I have to travel home. Everything depending on getting on board with my new job and what the needs are. Right now, she is admitted to the hospital, so it is limited what I can do there. But of course, if she gets home, it could be really helpful for me to be there as well, depending on how she fares. But we'll have to see everything about that when it gets closer. Today we're here to crochet. I think we got basically all everything that kind of happened this week. We got that sort of settled. I just need to do a little move here. So we got all that settled because, well, just lots of things happening, and I'm so happy. I'm 100% sure, ladies, and everybody who's been praying, that your prayers has been helpful for the whole situation. The fact that I have a new job, that will be really nice. You know, I can actually not have to worry about how I will pay for my food in a year or two. So I'll be able to put some money aside for that as well. So that's gonna be really really nice. Um, make my savings even bigger. I have a few other things I've been working on because, as I mentioned, for some of you ladies, I want to start a web shop, um, which is still in the plans. I've been doing lots of research. That's really taking some of my time as well. Um, and um, and I've also had some time to crochet a bit in between and knit and other stuff. And I thought today we have a few things to do. So what I actually wanted to do and reach today is to finish up the last 2 granny squares, which I need for the Sweet Martine poncho. So the Sweet Martine poncho is made of granny squares on top that you form together, and then you add extra rows, like you sew them together and you add extra rows to kind of increase the poncho, and it looks really, really nice, I think. So what we could do probably is if we start by sharing the screen like this. You can say here the Sweet Martine poncho. It is in sandy colors and an off-white, if I'm not wrong. But I use a light fuchsia and a light lilac. The lilac I have a bit further down, but the granny squares we're making is basically the granny squares that's sitting up here, which eventually will be formed together and you like crochet the rest around. So that is kind of the concept. So we are working on the granny squares, which is a long description, but I'll just use a diagram. And let's see, I'm about to start a new skein. Cotton light DK, weight, it's 50% cotton, 50% polyester. This is the light fuchsia, which is this sort of light, yeah, it is a light fuchsia. It's actually a pretty good description. 4mm crochet hook is what I'm using. And I already have 6 granny squares completed here. They still need blocked. And that is actually why I want to make them and finish them all, because 4, 5, and number 6. And the reason I really want to get them finished today is because if I have them finished today, I can block them all. And then sometime this weekend, they get a few days on that blocking board. I have this pin board where like you have the pins and you set them in. And once that's done, I can like sew them together. So it would be really nice if I can get those finished today, because I can block them tonight, or I can put them on the blocking board tonight with a little bit frizzle of water so that they could get a nice stretch. So that's actually my goal, and I have nothing started, so I need to make 2, and I think that should have time enough to make those 2. Once I'm done with those 2, we have a couple of options. We can either, well, we actually have 3 options. We can either continue on the Ultimate Sacrifice shawl, we can start a bucket hat, or I can continue on the current beanie that I'm knitting in a 2 knit 2 purl ribbed beanie. I don't have that much left for that to be finished either, but I will be able to finish that now. And I am on a yarn checking game with that one, because one of the 2 yarns that I'm holding double is not as much left as the other yarn. But I think what we first should do is to flip this screen down. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for the compliments, Susan. I very much appreciate that. Let's see. We have the dual camera view here. We go here, and I do the dual camera view for the purpose of that you can actually see my hands doing something, I guess. And then I hope that it will be all right. Also, I totally forgot to mention, I have my tea with me as well, but it's because I was so in a mood to get all information done on how life is right now, and it sounds crazy, right? But it's really been a positive relief to know a final diagnosis for my mom, and that the prognosis generally are positive for a cure. So we'll definitely cross our fingers for that and do some extra prayers. And the fact that it also that I got this job, so I think somehow that it was meant to happen when I didn't get the other job that I applied to back in February. I went to the interview, and I didn't get through to the second interview, and then everything with my mom happened. So it was like, yeah, it was kind of probably a good reason I didn't get it. And now this one comes, and it's basically just perfect for the situation. So sometimes I think it's just sometimes things are meant to be different, if that makes sense, right? Sometimes things are just meant to be different, and they succeed being different in a good way. So that's a good thing. I had to move my yeah. Maybe it's because this is, I don't know. Just trying to find the right angle for not being too much in the way, like that. Okay, so cotton light drops DK, 50% cotton, 50% polyester. It is 4mm crochet hook recommended, 50 grams to 1.75 ounces to 105 meters or 150 yards. They come in various colors. This one is the light fuchsia. I also have a light purple, which this almost looked like a light purple actually on the screen. But it is more like a fuchsia, so it's a little bit darker in color than what currently shows on screen, I think. The light purple is then a bit more lighter purple-wise. I tend to work from them on the outside because I add them to my yarn spindle. For those you already here are being used to that. Let's see, that comes from there. That's inside out, like that. And we are packed and ready to go. So what happens is I pull a little lightly and it just nicely comes off. No jumping, no yarn bath. No yarn bath is the most important about. And that is probably why I enjoy working on it like this. So we start these squares off by a slip knot. So that is what I do. And then it's oops, would require for me to actually manage to get them on the hook. As I said, 4mm hook or G hook for those that's rather using letters. 2, 3, 4. So it is a chain of 4, and after the chain of 4 I will have to slip stitch into the beginning chain to start this round. So that is what I am doing. That like that, and then I have to chain 4 because the starting is a double crochet and then they ask you to chain 4. I have the feeling that something went wrong in this one because I don't know what happened. It's just gotten a much tighter in the when I closed that down, so I'll just redo it. That really went very small. 3, 4, we'll try again. I don't know what happened. But obviously I need to be able to enter my crochet hook with having a clear idea where it is. Like that. So that was better. And we chain 4. Again, 3, 4. So we start with a double crochet and then you chain 1. And then what we have to do from here on is basically work in a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1. And we have to do that 15 times. So in total, in the very end, we have 16 double crochets and 16 chain 1s, where the chain 3 is a double crochet. So that is what I'll be doing right now, is just double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1 until I have a fair amount of them. 16 in total, including the chain 3. Love Crochet Babe, welcome to this live. I think it's the first time I see you here. So if you're a new subscriber, very much welcome. I am happy to see you, and if you're not, well, in any case, I'm still happy to see you here. Come and hang out, grab something to drink, sit down with your crochet project. This is our cozy crafting morning chat if you're in the US, or afternoon if you're EU, and evening if you are in Australia. Thank you for your heartfelt congratulations on my new job. Yes, working from home gives flexibility in life, and that is what I like. I like flexibility, and that is what this job offers me. It offers me quite a bit of flexibility, as long as, of course, you're also flexible towards the company. Kind of goes two ways, right? It's just perfect for my current needs. So it's that is so scarily amazing. And yeah, I hope my mom goes through treatment well as well. She deserves that. And thank you. Well, hopefully the squares will be also lovely when I have made all these. They are, you can kind of see where you move to the next. So like the corners are clear. So I guess design wise, would I have wanted different ones? Probably, but um, I'm just following the pattern right now. But it does give thought for inspiration if I at some stage may want to make it differently. Then I could probably also design a different type of poncho should I want to do that. So that's nice, I think. So I'm still happy that I am making this project overall, but looking now at the squares, maybe it's not too bad when it's all put together. Um, it's just me being perfect, wanting to have things that's like seamlessly perfect everywhere. I wonder what they're doing out there. It's noisy outside. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. I need 2 more. Double crochets. Yep. And then a chain 1, and then of course a slip stitch into uh, not the top stitch, but the third chain of that starting, because that would be your top if it was a double crochet, and we slip stitch into that. So we got our round made. Hallelujah. The first round done. Then we'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we kind of have to work. I wouldn't call it sort of bubble stitches, but and technically it's like you work 2 double crochets together. But the first stitches I do that a bit differently because I start with the chain 3 to kind of get up there. So I actually just only do a double crochet there because that makes more sense. We'll chain 2, and then in the next space we'll work in first the first part of a double crochet, and then I chain over again and work in a second double crochet where I pull through the 2 first loops, and then I pull through all 3 loops, and that's kind of like the 2 double crochets work together. I chain 2, and then I work 2 double crochets together in the next space all the way around, basically. I have to say the granny squares here are reasonably swift to do. Like they don't take forever, I think, which that's nice. I just need to find a good angle to sit. And I do sometimes tend to go out of screen, so if that happens, please do let me know. And I'm trying also to keep track of chat and everything else. So yeah, so that is basically a bunch of good news for me, I would say. Life is kind of great at the moment. Of course, things can always be better, but they can also be a heck ton worse. So yeah, that is good. I also spoke with my dad earlier today. Was a bit dizzy, he said, but it does sound like he's improving. Probably he's been drinking too little, and then everything with my mom on top makes him a bit too concerned, of course, which is totally understandable. I think he's realizing life is fragile. So he's, yeah, a bit concerned, which is totally fair. Hello, Amanda. You totally missed all my great news. If you just joined in, I don't know if you've been listening in the background or if you just joined now, but I have had a bunch of good news to share. Of course, I'll share those as well in Friday's Yarn Talk video because that would make most sense. Um, not everybody watches my live or rewatches the replays. But yeah, I had a bunch of good news this week, actually. So it's been a good week. It's been a good week. We have a final diagnosis for my mom. She will start treatment tomorrow, which is going to involve at least 3 types of different chemotherapies. She's currently admitted to hospital, but given the situation, I think she's doing a bit better than she were yesterday. And of course, we're just happy that we know that now there's kind of a bit of a plan in place, and hopefully it's also the best possible plan for her. So yeah, my mom is starting treatment tomorrow, and I'm still here in the Netherlands. Then I also got a new job. I got the job that I had applied to. I had my 3rd interview to that job Monday, and that was successful. So it's awesome. In 1.5 weeks' time, I will start on my new function, which is a website coordinator function, where I will handle the Danish part of the website and be the prime responsible person for that. And that is flexible, so I can work from home or can work wherever I want. And right now they are sorting out a workstation for me, which is gonna be like totally luxury, because they are giving out MacBooks. So I'll get a MacBook to work on, and they just asked like, do you want a MacBook with an English keyboard or do you want a MacBook with a Danish keyboard? And I was like the English keyboard, I would have like a loose keyboard to go next to it, and I was like, well, I want a Danish keyboard because I know my typing skills will improve much on that one. So I need to count. We have 16. Just a moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Awesome. So that is super nice. I'm just quickly checking here. For the continuation that is a delay makers. Okay, awesome. Okay, I will have to consider that. They're just sending me information regarding laptop sleeves and default mouse. It would probably be easier just to get something on my own because it's coming from abroad, because I get one with a Danish keyboard. I should probably I'll email him back later. That should be fine. So yeah, it's just so many good news. I'm kinda startled, to be honest. Because let's face it, life has really been rough the last couple of months, right? So it's so nice that it's finally making sense. You got your hands full. Awesome. I guess, at least. Okay, so we have the same where we do the same again. So we'll do another chain 3 and sort of double crochet to replace this 2 in together into 1. Then we'll chain 3 and we'll again do the same where we do the 2 double crochets together between each chain space from the previous row. And as I said, I want to get these done. So I was just thinking if I should reply to that email. I probably should, but I'll have to check what's easier. Amanda says here, the pattern I'm testing, the volcanic eruption on Iceland. So I had to start the project that's been waiting for it. Oh yeah, well, that is when you realize that crocheting does take more time than you actually think when you want to do everything at once. The good thing about this job being part-time is that I can still be on YouTube with you guys. Reminds me, YouTube prompted me, or well, not YouTube, Google actually prompted me for tax certification stuff. And apparently they didn't think that my letter from the government about please do your taxes were considered taxation proof of where I live and stuff like that. I'm like, fuck them. So I need to figure out what they then want and could approve. But that is a headache for later today. I think that's probably something I'm gonna look at tonight. And you got the yarn for your project for hooker versus hooker. I didn't catch what you're supposed to be making and what colors, because I do understand, based on the fact that you got yarn, that you had nothing in your stash that could be used for it, which would have been the best of the best, of course. And if you noticed, I had a yarn haul, which I showed Monday, so obviously I totally feel they're not buying yarn. But I had a good reason for placing that order, because there was yarn in that I needed for the bucket hat that I made for my mom, which I finished last week. It was just a delayed post on YouTube, so to say. I had the yarn haul already the week earlier, but I need to schedule my videos a bit for you guys to be happy. Well, you will be happy regardless, but for YouTube to be happy, I guess we should say. And now I also need to do other thinking ahead, because when I'm then in Denmark, I will obviously probably be less live. I don't see that's going to be successful being live. And then we will have to see how everything goes. But one thing is for sure, we are going to have an awful lot of visits to the hospital in Roskilde. And that is a small 20 minutes walk from Hobby. And I could see that they prefer for not the patients themselves, but the people that kind of are with the patients. I'm not really sure what you call them in English. Give me a moment. I'm gonna find a translation for it. Relatives. Haha, I should have known that. It was too easy. But they prefer the relatives are not there during the actual time of the treatment. And if that's the case, and it's gonna be treatments that take longer time, guess what I'll be doing while I'm waiting? I will go to Hobby and try not to spend my money. But I will definitely go to Hobby. Floral themed accessory, one shade of each. Blue, purple, yellow, and a neutral of my choice. Okay. Lovely. Susan, apparently the hooker, at least the tasks or the project that they're too big, has been announced, and I knew that. I just haven't had time to watch it because I wasn't home when it happened, and it was a bit late for my time as well. So, and I just didn't find the place to rewatch it. I probably should. Feel free to send me the link, Amanda, if you want me to. I need to start on the next row, which is chain 1, and then it's single crochet, chain 3, then single crochet in the next space, but closer to the previous 2 into 1, and then it's single crochet on the other side, chain 3, etc., all the way around. So that's pretty simple. But what I really should do to get moving on the project is probably to write my new employer a quick email, if you ladies won't mind, because they need verification as well. And the quicker they have this, the quicker I have my working laptop, and the quicker I can plan travels to Denmark and save some money on flights, because obviously that is crazily expensive if you first order them a week before you leave. You think the link is in your community post thingy? I will have to check that in a minute. I'm just quickly replying to them here. Yeah. So sorry for the background typing, but I can better get this done just to make sure it's good. That is the right. Um, okay, I got that under control. Relatives, that was it. Yeah, that was good. So I got that email sorted. But yeah, so there's a big likelihood that I will be visiting Hobby a few times in the coming time. Just because it will be very much around the corner, and I will be there quite a bit, and I will have quite some waiting time, I'm afraid. And if it's indeed so that they prefer relatives not to be in the area when they conduct the treatments, and a part of this is due to so when you have lymphoma or Hodgkin's lymphoma, it's considered a blood disease. So she's treated in the hematologic department, which is basically the department for blood-related diseases, like leukemia. And they are quite strict on how many relatives they allow there. They prefer as few as possible, if any, simply to reduce the chance of any infections, because people under treatment there will get a pretty heavy treatment, and obviously the immune system will be at a reduced power or strength, and yeah, we will have to see how it goes. But so far, they will start treatment tomorrow, and we don't know how long she will be admitted. And as long as she's admitted, it's probably limited what I can do, except for being on the phone, because I don't know. Like, I'm probably of more use when she's at home, I'd imagine. So we're trying to kind of coordinate everything. I have no clue what's really going on outside. It sounds like we have a big jumbo jet on top of our roof. So this yarn just really want to split on me. I don't know if it's a skein, but so the reveal will be in May. I have to have first. I'll have first last of April to work on it. Okay, so like the full month of April, you can work on it. And the beginning of May, it's being revealed, if I understand correct. There are 2 channels alternating every month: an Alaskan crafter, Jan, and Matt Pimi Lala. I can't remember her channel name. Okay. Is there any specific price, or is it just eternal? What's it called? Honor for winning, and a pride, the honor and pride of winning. I'm a competitive type, but I'm not sure if I wanted to compete on a creative subject, if that makes sense. It's hobbies, not hobbies, drops cotton light. It's splitty, quite splitty. It wants to split for a good word. It's very lightly wound. Let's see if I can actually. I need to have where I can see my camera. But if I untwist a little bit, so the twist is very light. So it's lots of these thinner strands. You could probably easier see it here on the end of my starting tail. You can see here all the little splits. So yeah, it is splitty, which doesn't make me happy, but well, it's what the pattern designer used, and that is what I bought, and that was before I knew this yarn was so splitty. I have to say, I'm not sure if it's yarn I'll maybe, but not something that I will really quickly work with, compared to maybe other yarns. I'm much more enjoying the. I have some 8/8 cotton from Linda Hobby. That is a real joy, because that is soft for cotton. It's really nice and soft. Okay, so we've finished that row, and the next row then is chain 1, just to start the row. Well, and now it splits again on me. Come on, be nice for once, like that. Then we'll have to single crochet in the next chain space, and then this is easy. It's 7 chains, and then single crochet in the next chain, and then 7 chains, etc., all the way around. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, We jump to the next chain space of 3, which we just made, to do a single crochet. Then we chain 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and we do that 16 times because we need 16, or we won't be able to make a square towards the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. I'm working on the Sweet Martine poncho, which is also drops because, well, you know, I like to be killed by drops. So that's a poncho, and the poncho consists of 8 grinding squares, which then get sewn together, and then a bunch of double crochets in short. Bragging rights. Yes, bragging rights are very important, by the way. They are the most important prize ever. 4, 5, 6, 7. They broadcast live, that's why I had difficulty finding it. Yeah, I'll be poking people to come vote. Of course, just let me know when, and then hope I'm available actually. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Amanda, are both Jen and Matt Mimi in Alaska? Yeah, they are. Citizens-in-law. Okay. Well, that makes sense, I guess. Makes good sense. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. And I believe Mishi chose the project or something like that. If I'm not wrong. So yeah, and I'll be live on Monday. Hallelujah. So yeah, basically when I'm home, this new job should still allow me to pop live. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. It does require me though to get up on time because I'll have to do the work before going live. But that really shouldn't be an issue. I've done that before. So generally, if I get up on time, 6, 7, if I get up on time, I'll just start working. I have like the whole afternoon left to do other stuff. So I just need to practice getting up on time. And still, if I don't fully get up on time, you know, I'll still have a fair amount of day left as long as I do the job. I'm really, yeah, I'm looking forward for this. I'm really in an optimistic mode for this new job in so many aspects, and they're very nice people also. But I did almost have a heart failure when I saw the suggested salary. So yeah, I have budget to buy yarn again. I just don't have the room, so that would be my main reason now for the decrease. Not so much because of the financial perspective, but yeah. So we finished that. Yes, yes. I'm on a weird mission punishing myself of all the drops patterns. So the thing is, there was once this sale on drop yarns, and they had this bunch of drops, and I wanted to make sure I had enough to get free shipping. And then I just went through patterns and looked at the yarns and what was for sale and what patterns looked nice. And I just looked at photos and I was like, that, and I bought the yarns, and that's kind of where I am right now. um, yeah. 4. We'll start the next row. So we actually start now to prepare for the corners, and we start by chaining 4 because pattern says so. And we go into this big chain space first, and we do 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets in that same space. 1, 2, 3, because that is the foundation of our first corner. Of course, until now it's just been round, right? Then we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we do a double crochet in the next space, just 1 double crochet, and we do a total of 3 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically, it's just been a freaking, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like a great idea with all these drops patterns back then, but that was before I had actually gotten into making one. So some of this yarn is like, it's been in my stash for a year and a half, right? It's just now finally I'll work on it. Going through my self-torture. Now we have a new corner, so that is the 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets, again in the same space. So we are on the second last row of this square, and then we have 1 square to go, and the torture for today is done, because then all these 8 squares need some blocking before I continue. Thank you, ladies. So Susan says that I'm doing well for the challenging drop patterns. Thank you. Yeah. In hindsight, I'm not sure why I do them. And Amanda agrees that I'm doing well, so I can only say thank you, ladies, so much for your compliments. They do warm me. I was also thinking today, I probably really need to buy a real mannequin and not just like having the heads, like a real body one. And then I was like, yeah, but where can I place it? And it takes so much room. And I was like, And then it kind of stopped there. Yeah, but I really should get one. Chain 4, and it's a new corner. So we are into the 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets in the same space. She's in a constant pertacory. I pick and choose mine as well, like puff stitch pertacory cardigan. Yes. That's also why I'm trying only to work on one at a time from drops, because I know I'll just probably go mad if I try to work on 2 at a time. So that is my rule. I can only work on one drops pattern at a time, because I'll go crazily mad without. That said, I might actually bring one with me to Denmark, which is not a drops yarn, but it is a drops pattern, because it's a smaller project. So it's an easier travel project. So I might do that. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. And we'll have our last corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we are close on starting the last row, and that's a bunch of double crochets. And then we'll need to cut yarn, weave ends. Yay! I hate that. I do have a slight bit of yarn left from like I get a little bit, like 3 squares per ball, but there is a little left, so that is what I'm kind of using, and I want to use to sew them together with. 2, 3, 4. Could you do something else with your yarn? I probably could. You know, I have so much yarn. I probably could do something else with it. This could probably even also work well for a top. Or maybe even bags, I don't know. But I have a bunch of yarns. Some of the drops might just be easier working it up as how I planned. I also have some leftovers from 2, 3, 4. Some leftovers from and now we are sort of getting to the square, right? Because here we have the corners. Ta-ta! And we just have to make the edging now. Yeah, I think I could do something different, but I think that would require more thinking, and I'm not really sure if I'm in the mood to do more thinking and planning. Don't forget to drink. If you don't have any drinks with you, then please go fetch one. We need to hydrate. I am on a peach tea today. It is a Pickwick infused peach tea. So that's a black tea infused with peach. I thought that was really fitting with this absolutely amazing weather we have. So I started the next row by chaining 4, then jumping into the space in the corner where I work in 2 double crochets, chain 3, 2 double crochets. Then I need to chain 1, and in each of the spaces here we need to work in a 5 double crochets all the way until we get to the corner. Then we chain 1, work in the corner, etc. So it is a reasonably simple round, this, and it doesn't take a lot of brain power to do. So far this is simpler than it looks. And a 5 in this space, just checking. Yep. So yeah, I guess the only thing is that I don't want to do the extra thinking, and that's probably the reason for, like, right now not doing. I have some leftovers. So one of the yarns, like, I made the Thoughts of Ireland shawl, which I'll definitely never make again. That was, yeah, that wasn't and I think it was more the yarn, actually. I didn't enjoy working with. The 100% alpaca from Drops is a very thin yarn. Like, it makes the Sultan cakes or the Sultan Deluxe seem thick in comparison. I don't think I want to work with that again because it took forever to do things, and it was fiddly and small, and yeah, no, I don't. But I still have a ball left of that yarn plus a scrap. And what I think I will do is I'll need a beanie from it, because I will then double that yarn with another scrap I have, which should be enough to make one knit beanie of it. That's probably what I'm gonna do. The current beanie I've been working on is really, really nice knit up with this double layered yarn. I should actually show you guys. But let's just finish this one first, should we? We have the first side done, 3 sides to go. Yeah, exactly, double it with something else. That's what I want to do. And I'll probably just double it up, and I'll probably just, I have a white, and it's like an olive green. And so the white is acrylic, and the yarn I use for the drops is 100% alpaca. So that would make reasonable sense to work up together for a beanie. Gets a little bit of warmth in it. I think also it would get a nice effect. The white with this olive green worked up together. So I'm 99.9% sure that's what I'm gonna do. without having started yet. But that is I think a good plan. 2, 4, 6, 5. Right, 5, 5. I need 5. 2 times 5 more. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Actually, I'm okay with knitting. It's just not going as quickly as, but it's something that takes a bit. It's kind of mindless. The only thing is, and I'm really debating on doing that. I wanted to spend money on some shorter knitting needles, circular ones, because that will make it so much easier closing it off. Because when I'm closing it off now, I feel the needles are too long, so they kind of conflict with one another. So that is probably what I'll be doing. And the benefit of knitting is it takes a bit less yarn than crocheting, but it also does take a little bit, oddly enough, longer time. But there are things I think could work up nice on knit. I also have a different yarn laying in my stash that I think could make an exact of 2 beanies, and it would make and that the only reason ability to pull that out would be to knit them, because I also don't think there's enough yarn to make 2, and the yarn isn't sold anymore. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's limited edition, but I can't find it anywhere if I wanted to buy an extra. So to kind of make it logic and use up this gain, it would make more sense to just say, okay, I'll knit it because, well, that's what I'll do. Who would have thought that I would turn into a bit of a knitter? So yeah. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning. And Sabine is also here. Good morning to you as well, or good afternoon, maybe. Lovely, lovely, lovely. It is a busy day with lots of great news. I have a new job starting on April 14th. It's part-time, which makes it possible for me to still do my lives as long as I do my job. Generally speaking, at least. And it also makes it possible for me to travel home to my parents, because I can work from my parents' place as well, as long as I do my hours. So that is absolutely amazing. And I'll get a work laptop, and the pay is even actually quite good compared to the fact that I'm working part-time. It makes me realize how shit of a job I had before. Sorry for my words. I had a nice team lead before, but his boss was shit, and the micromanagement was really bad. Like, being told that, like, why did you have an unscheduled break? Yeah, well, I had to use the toilet. Yeah, but you're supposed to do that in your dedicated break slots, which is like 2 times 50 minutes and a half an hour. And I'm like, yeah, because of course that is what I want to spend my break on, sitting on the toilet. So yeah, of course I can plan when I go to the toilet. When you have to, you have to. And there shouldn't be really a question. You just should go. Like, Jesus. That is not an issue I have anymore. Probably because I don't need to pick up the phone. So if I have to use the loo, I use the loo. Which is nice. Like, less stress is good. Working 40% less for the same salary as I started on in my full-time job 3.5 years ago. And if you look at the salary I would have gotten, like, if my last paycheck for my full-time job, I'll work 40% less and only take a pay cut of 15%. Deal, I'll take it. which means that basically my old salary increase would have been 15% since 2021, roughly, give or take a little. So yeah, that is very much yay. And my mom has a final diagnosis. We have a starting treatment plan set up. She will start treatment tomorrow. Currently admitted to the hospital because she didn't feel very good yesterday. And the lung department think it's a good idea that she stays at the hospital. I think it's also a good idea. They want to figure out what's wrong with the lungs, because they don't know for sure if it comes due to the lymphoma she has. But yeah, so we are almost at the end here. 5 more double crochets. So that's good, but it's gonna be a hefty ride for sure. And as long as she's admitted, I don't know if it's a benefit for me being there. Of course, it's nicer to see each other head on, but I don't know if I really bring benefit in the sense of scissors and darning needles, because it's time. Cut. Ta-ta. So yeah, that is awesome. So lots of good news. Right now sorting delivery of my working equipment. The sooner better than the later, of course, because then I can also plan for my next trips to Denmark. Right now it does look that it's first going to be delivered towards the end of next week. So we'll have to see. I should get that directly from Apple, which is quite fancy. Just compare it to my old employee. We worked on Chrome boxes, and I would not exactly say that that was a pleasurable thing. Time to pick up Mini-Me. Well, greetings to her and have a great day. It was wonderful that you just checked in with us. Absolutely enjoyed my time. Hope you enjoyed yours too. I'm being good on sewing ends in as I go. I just sew an end and finish this row. Woohoo! Great girl. Good job. I am definitely not a massive fan of sewing in ends either, I will instantly say. But I am also trying to be a good girl, sewing in my ends here. Mainly because I know in this case that they go straight on the blocking board, so it just makes sense to kind of sew them in as I make them. Else normally I would first do it when I'm absolutely sure that I don't need to frog it. But I've made a few of these, so now I have a good feeling on it. So that is what we are doing right now. Sewing in ends. I'll take it a bit longer, all the way to the end if possible. And then a bit back or a bit further down. Let's see. Of course, I do need to stretch a little so that it doesn't suddenly come undone. We don't want that. What my new job involves? That is a good question. So it involves absolutely zero contact on the phone, which is awesome. I used to do indeed customer support for Sonos. Valid to say it was not Sonos directly who hired me, but the company they outsourced their support to. And they were the ones doing the micromanagement, but probably upon request from Sonos for them to meet certain KPIs, and that's just how customer service work. I had a great reference from my employer actually. Um, and my new job is not selling and it's not customer support. It's neither. I'll be a website coordinator. My task is basically to make sure that the website is constantly updated. It's in Danish. The company is Dutch, and that's why they need somebody who speaks Danish. But they also need them to live in the Netherlands. And that makes me able to do it remotely no matter where I am in the world, as long as I have internet. Um, uh, Sabine, that is a very good question. I don't know because I'm just following the pattern and I didn't read that far yet. I just read make 8 granny squares. So, and this is the 7th. So we need one more and then they need blocking before I'll consider what to do. But I could read pattern far enough to figure it out, I guess. I'm not sure if they're sewn together, if they're actually crocheted together. We'll find out. But yeah, so the new job actually, I'm really keen on it because there's a few things. I also don't have any. This sounds really not nice. I don't have any stupid customers or stupid questions. Generally, I only had really nice people, mostly on the phone, and then there was a few. There was an oddball in between. Um, a lot of people think that you get a lot of horrible people, but actually, the benefit of the type of support I did for Sonos, because it was tech support, people called generally to get help and they knew that they needed your help to actually make things work. So they appreciated what you did and they were listening and trying to do the best. Of course, you had a few lesser people in between, but generally, I think it could be counted in a year how many, can I say assholes, that you would speak to. Ta-ta! One more done. One more done. As you can see, it needs blocking to keep its figure. It's a little bit odd funked. So we just need one more. But actually, just for funsies, let us see what happens. Square. Ba-la-la-la. Assembly. Sew edges to edge. Sew in the outer loops of the edge, blah, 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 making up the poncho. So they are sewn together, not crocheted together. There you go. Pattern is in the description box down below. 8 squares total. I have 7. This is number 8. And then I'm done with squares. Then they need blocking. So after I've done square number 8, which I'll start now, we will find something else to do because I want them to block for a day or two to keep shape. So what I'll probably do is I'll block them tonight, put them on the blocking board. I have, you know, one of those boards with pins you can put into holes, and I'll block it on that. And I make them a bit damp so they can dry with that. And that is my intention. So they are getting blocked tonight. So that is why we're working on these right now, because that means that I can process sometime this weekend if everything goes according to my plans. That is, right now they're not going to my plans. Come on, Jan. Yeah. We start by chaining 4 and slip stitching them together so it forms a circle. In that circle we work in the first stitches, but we start by chaining 4. And then it's a bunch of double crochets into this center. And somehow the first few is always a bit of a work just to get it started. And then once I'm started, it goes quite nice and smooth. But yeah, so 8 squares. And they will basically, if you give me a moment. So these squares will be sewn together. Well, obviously this needs stretching because you can see the difference between them. But they should fit stitch-wise, but I have the feeling they don't right now. Gee, that is a difference. It is the same though. God damn. well, so this is why it needs blocking, because they're all kind of all directions, right? So they will kind of get sewn together like this, and then I think you'll make it like this, and then on the other end of this you kind of form it back so it can get like you put them up and it's like a V, if that makes sense. And I said there's oh my goodness, I lost a thread somewhere. Oh, there it is. So there's 8 in total. That is my understanding of it. So you kind of sew them together in a longer row. Yep. So you do 4 and 4, and the end to the 4 goes on the side on the other end. You can see it here. Let me see if I can share that screen. One moment. That is the wrong one. Here. So what you'll have to imagine is each of these squares is a granny square. You have 8. And that's like side or front end or whatever you want to say. And that's how they get sewn together, if that makes sense. And technically, you could probably use any sort of granny square than this one. This just happens to be the one that they used for the design, so that is the one I'm using. But the concept of this, that doesn't really matter if it's this particular granny square. You could technically probably use any granny square for it. Is my assumption. And who knows? I might do a similar project with some different yarns, acrylics or something like that. I get a bit in the mood to make something with, like, let's say sunflowers. I think that could be nice. Granny squares with sunflowers. It seems like something for summer, right? Nice summer poncho with sunflowers, grannies. Can you hear it? I'm already in the designing mode. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I need 4 more. So that is how it's gonna be set up, basically. I love grannies and mates, blankets, coats, bags, cushions. I prefer to crochet them together. That seems logic choice too, to be honest. But right now I'm just following the pattern, so I'm not really gonna be too considered, I guess. Then I tend to do things differently if I do it again, like a second time or something like that. And we need to get into the 3rd stitch of the chain. Oh, that was not that split. Damn it. Stina, watch your language, but behave. Ta-ta. I just need to check if I actually have the amount. So I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday I made one and it didn't add up in the end. And what do I mean by that? Is that I had one too little, so I didn't have enough stitches to actually make the corners, so I had to undo half of it. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Perfect. And then we'll chain 3 and work in a double crochet just to match the rest what we have done. 1, 2, chain 2, and then we work the 2 double crochets together in each of the spaces. Yeah, I don't know if somebody is rebuilding their garden or what it is. Maybe I should see if I have time for that tomorrow. Go into the garden. It is great weather, and it's going to be great weather tomorrow as well. I actually have a photo I want to take outdoor. And I also want to, I definitely should do that tomorrow. I have some shawls I need to block, but the physical act of doing it is tedious, boring. But I should just get it done. Right now they're just laying there waiting for it. So that would also be something that I could still do. Like I could then block a shawl, then I could work for my part-time job. I will still have time left to do other stuff. And I could remove my shawl from the blocking boards. Like, oh my goodness. I am really, really happy with this job that I found. It's really gonna be a good thing for me. Or at least it sounds extremely promising. And I like that I don't need to talk to customers, or just being on the phone within 20 seconds of it calling. My goodness. I really don't miss those days. So yeah, in general, I'm really happy. It's good days. One, two. So yeah, granny squares, that is the thing right now, huh? So what I should do probably is I could put this up a little bit, couldn't I? Would that work? Would probably be a bit better. Because I do tend to tuck in the yarn under me after a bit. Ideally, I would get a view where you could view directly as how I view this. That would be even nicer. That would be nicer. But my current setup doesn't allow it that easy. Or, well, I guess I could, but it would be moving because that was wrong. Because if I did so, I would like have the webcam attached to my chest somehow. And every time then I move, the camera would move. So I would need to optionally have something more permanent set up, and that just costs time to build up and so on. So that is also one of the reasons I don't do it. I do it for when I record tutorials. On that note, there's a few I should probably spend time on. Two. So Sarah says, I have a few colors that would look cute together as granny squares, maybe a granny square scarf. You love the pattern I'm using. Well, granny square scarves doesn't sound bad either. Sabine, I would speak Danish on the phone back when I used to do customer service. That would be Danish because I was supporting the Danish market. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, at work. I was doing Danish support. I'm a Danish native. So I was born and bred in Denmark. Very proud Danish Viking. I even have a Danish passport somewhere. Also have a Dutch one. So I have a dual citizenship. I do not like working with the Dutch language, though. Not saying that I don't like Dutch, but um, having to work with Dutch customers will also require me to be able to write Dutch fluently, which I don't. Well, if I have autocorrect, I'll probably be fine. But I will be getting a Danish PC and Danish keyboard for my new work, which is nice. My old work were like, here, you have an English keyboard, you have to write in Danish. It's not going to happen. And why am I saying that? Is because a Danish keyboard is different than an English keyboard. Yes, they are both QWERTY keyboards, but we have extra letters. So what we could do, if you promise me not to be, well, I'm embarrassed about my current table mess. But what we could do is I could, let's see, I should probably switch. Spin says I'm half English, but my English is not perfect. Well, my English isn't perfect either, but it's definitely better than my Dutch, especially written. So I'm sorry about this. We are going on a little trip. This is work. This is my laptop. And if you look over here, I have some extra letters, and that's Danish. And I need those because they are very common in Danish words. So just having an English keyboard is a nightmare if you need to type something in Danish. And that is my kitchen, which is a mess. That's me. That is the living room, which is also a bit of a mess. So that was a quick tour of my house downstairs. Let's see. I think we are recently back. Yeah, right now it's a bit of a mess, actually. My house is a mess. I really should clean it. Some of it is also just me having stuff piled on the table because we don't use the whole table. We just mainly use half of it, and the other half just tends to get piled up with things that needs to get used eventually, or yeah. But I was told that a genius control chaos. So I am a genius because I do not feel that my life is chaos. But I can imagine other people coming here might find it a bit chaotic from time to time. Even my kitchen was a bit of a mess. But it's less messy than the rest. Some of it is also due to me. So I purchased for salads for dinner today. We're just gonna have a good fashion salad. And I had cucumber and tomatoes, and I didn't want to stuff them into the fridge, so they're just still on the counter. Because, well, I'll need them soon in any case. So, yeah. So dinner is easy. I need to boil an egg, though. Well, actually, I need to boil 2 eggs, one for me and one for my partner. Then we'll have tuna as well in the salad. And then some mixed salads. So it's just a very healthy dinner, actually. But yeah, we can think about what I should do once we are done with this granny square. What are we in the mood to work on? As I said, I do have a few things that we can work on. But the priority was to finish these 2 granny squares, where this is the last one. And once that's done and ends the zone going in, I need to block it, but I'm not going to block it while I'm live. That's just not practical. I'll do that on my own time tonight, after dinner probably. that is the current plan. So chain 1, and then we have the single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, etc. So we'll do that. 1, 2, 3. I think the pattern here is okay in the sense of the granny squares, but I still have this idea that it could be really gorgeous if one made like sunflower granny squares or another fancy pattern granny squares with a few different colors in those. I think that could be gorgeous. And as you can hear, I get all in the mode. Like try matching like a yellow with a slight brown center for the sunflowers, and then maybe a nice royal blue or even a green, like good green, as outside border and main color of the poncho. That could be gorgeous. So we have Mr. Stir Crazy Arts and Crafts with us. Welcome to this live and good morning. I can tell you that it is 3:40 p.m. here in Central Europe. I am in the Netherlands. So yeah, good morning to you. I hope you are well and that you had a great night's sleep. I am in a happy mode because life right now is pretty much going according to plan. I think for the current situation, I am pretty happy. Two, three. I have to check how they are doing at internet now at Copenhagen Airport, if they've gotten more public or if it's still pay on demand. That said, I do have a better subscription than I used to have, so and I can always up my data plan so I can work if I'm in the airports and so on. Susan sends her greetings to Mr. Stir-Fry Crazies. 1, 2, 3. So we just have some hellos. Yeah. You know what? This row is almost complete. Like that. And then we'll slip stitch into this. That was this round. Ta-ta-ta. Then we'll chain 1 and we'll do a single crochet into this chain 3 space, and we'll do chain 7. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that just split on me. Crike, it's saved. I only had to go back 1. Next, chain 3, we chain 1 again. Not chain 1, sorry. Do a single crochet. We chain 7. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we make a total as 16 of these. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So what are you ladies working on right now, and gentlemen? Are you working on anything crazy, or are you just hanging out, enjoying your morning coffee or afternoon coffee for that matter? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Crocheting a baby blanket. Oh yeah. Had the idea you were working on that last week as well, weren't you? Something about grandchildren, I recall. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. So we do have a few options once I'm done with this. I have found it all and laid it over there as working options for when we are done. So I don't need to walk too far to find it. Six, 7. And if we ask Nightbot, we should also find that the weather is amazing, by the way. But I told you that a few times already. It is sunny. Not a single cloud. If it says cloudy, I'll be disappointed. Weather for Nijmegen is sunny with a wind temperature of 65 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 18 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from east at, well, it's pretty windy according to this. Humidity is 36. But you know, when I look out, I don't see the trees moving, so I'm not really sure where they get the wind from. But maybe if you're out on the open field, I do live like, I wouldn't say it's a gated community or something like that, but it is like it's residential housing. Which I think is nice. And for those that wasn't there in the beginning, I showed my tulips. 5, 6, 7. The weather in Roskilde right now, and that would be related also to where you find one of the Danish hobby stores, for those that's curious, is sunny with a temperature of 6 degrees Fahrenheit or 6 degrees Celsius. The wind is also blowing from east at 4 miles per hour, so it's almost wind still, and the humidity is 36. I would say the weather is really similar to where Helle is and where I am right now. The only difference is apparently it should be more windy here. But I don't really feel the wind, but I'm indoors, so maybe that is also a part of it. And I have a few degrees more, but that is more likely due to the fact that I'm a bit further south. And not close to the coast either. That is also a thing. Coastal regions. So that was it. I just need to check for the making sure that I actually also have 16. Hello, oddballs. Awesome to see you. I am currently working on granny squares, a bunch of them. This is the last one. Yeah, it's not blowing, Roskilde. No. But I don't, honestly, I don't see it blowing that much. There's a little breeze sometimes for the trees moving a little bit, but I wouldn't call it blowing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Perfect. 2 rows to go. And then this granny is complete. The weather here is terrible, and I have to go for a doctor appointment an hour and a half away. Oh no. That sounds like it's weather that is anything but convenient to drive in. Damn. Okay, so the weather for Winkler, which is in Canada, is a temperature of 31 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's currently negative 1 degree Celsius in European metric terms. It is snowing, and the wind is blowing from east-northeast at 7 miles per hour, or 11 kilometers per hour, and the current humidity is 96. That sounds like it's going to be snowing for a bit also to come, or it just started or whatever, but it doesn't sound nice to drive 1.5 hours in snow. Is it like a heavy snow, or is it just like a slow drizzle falling down? but it doesn't sound very nice at all. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. The snow's making the roads very slippery. It's heavy wet snow. Oh, it's just like a slush ice kind of feeling. Slushy snow. That's no good. I hope that the roads will improve as you get closer to your destination, but it does definitely sound like you need to depart in good time with that kind of weather. Oh my goodness. But Oddballs, we just talked about a bunch of great news before you came on this morning. Because we have good news in many aspects. The first good news is that we have a final diagnosis for my mom, and she has Hodgkin's lymphoma, which means that well, it's a good prognosis, and they are going to start her cure tomorrow. So she will have like 3 different types of chemotherapy as a start. And currently she's still admitted to the hospital. She was readmitted yesterday because she wasn't feeling very well, and the doctors will have to see day by day how she will respond to this. 3, 4. But we are positive because now there's finally a plan. Like, it's gonna be rough, yes, but there's a plan. There will be progress made, right? And the doctors seem positive in general for the type of treatment available and the type of lymphoma and so on. So the prognosis are good. So that is super positive. We are far from home, so to say. But oh well, that's super positive. And the second good news is that I got a part-time job. I had this 3rd job interview Monday, and that went successfully enough for them to say that they would want to extend me a job offer. Then they contacted my old employer, actually my old team lead, who gave them a stunning reference. Oh my goodness. And they extended me the job offer. So I signed the job contract with them last night, like late last night. And now they are preparing for making sure that my work equipment will be ready and so on. And we will be having to schedule some onboarding for me to get into the company and stuff like that. So yeah, we have lots of good news actually. And honestly, also what we spoke with Doctor about now, it's bad, right? Like, it's not good to have a cancer diagnosis, but it is the lesser evil, or it is the better one of the worst. Like, if it has to be bad, it's the good bad, if that makes any sense. Because yes, indeed, it is treatable. It's still gonna be a long road because um, it's classified stage 4, which is mean it's spread to more than just the lymph nodes. That's probably also causing the choice of treatment, because she's going to have like 3 different types of chemotherapies in one big go. So I would say buckle up and yeah. And as she's currently admitted, so far we will have to see and communicate when she gets out. Kind of depends on how she reacts, obviously, on the chemo, I guess. Because as long as she's not home, I don't know how much I can. I think I'll be more of use when she is home, for both of my parents, actually. Because that gives my dad some release, some freedom when I'm there, and that would be nice for him also. And I think my mom probably also appreciate having another sane person to talk to. Not saying that my dad is insane, but um, he's not the type that you can do lots of interesting, deep conversations with, I would say. Um, Not really. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. Mm. And yes, it is a lot of stress off my plate in many aspects, right? Because, with this, I also know, like with a job, it's flexible. I can bring it with me when I'm at my parents' place, and it's like 4 to 5 hours a day, which is not a lot. It is just part time. And I think that is manageable, and I think it's definitely possible. And they don't say I have to do them all in one go. Like, they'd like me to work ideally like 4 to 5 hours every day, Monday to Friday. But they're not saying, Stine, you have to do it all from that time to that time or whatever. I could technically do 2 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening if I wanted to. So everything depending on the needs and so on, I would be able to shuffle that around. Um, Ideally, of course, I will with the onboarding just have a good idea of what I'm doing, and then it's easier to do stuff at different times. We are on to the last row. So yeah, it is absolutely wonderful to say. After all these less good out views, it's finally looking bright, and the sun is shining. You can almost feel it. It's light here on my hands, right? Like I don't even have extra lighting on. Well, I have my normal light, but I don't have like an extra light in the camera up here. I don't have that turned on. That would really overexpose it. Um, but yeah, so that is great in many aspects. Also, um, do, do, do. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Um, and the part-time job also means, so my plan is to work in the morning on the days able, where nothing is in the way. That means that I have the whole afternoon for myself, which means I can still stream with you guys. So we can still keep going on with our weekly streams, given, of course, that nothing else in the agenda blocks it and so on. But by the looks of it, we can definitely still do the streams, because I'll be finished with work before the stream starts, at least if I get up on time. That would be like getting up as when I got up back when I was working customer support. And I didn't get up that early back then just to be ready for work. I got up that early because I was afraid if I got up after my partner and I would sleep over, that I would sleep over so I would be at work on time. So it was like an intentional choice, but I could get used to doing that again, and then I would just have to move my butt an hour earlier to bed, and then I'll be fine. So that is my general idea, is to get most of my job done in the morning when able, because then I have so much more time in the afternoon to do other things. Unless I have appointments, then of course I have to change things around. But that is the overall plan for my future. And of course, if I'm in Denmark, I'll have to be a little bit more splitty with the work. I'm not sure if a straight 4 or 5 hour session there would be as easy. And the challenging part is my dad, making him understand that when I'm in Denmark and behind a work PC that I'm actually working. because he's probably more likely to not understand it, because for him, if you have a job, you go to a physical place where you work to get paid. You don't work online remote, which is basically this job. This is a 100% remote online job. Like, I just need to have internet and then I can work, and it doesn't matter where I am in the world. Perfect. Well, according to Dutch working law, I need to live in the Netherlands and I need to be X amount of days a year in the Netherlands and so on, but that's not going to be an issue unless somebody makes an issue of it. So that's just perfect. Oh, split. So yeah, life is on rails in so many aspects. It's wonderful. So the real question is what we want to do when I'm done with this, because we have 2 corners and 2 sides left of this granny square. Then I will weave an ends, and then I have all 8 that I need for the poncho. So what should I work on then afterwards? I have 3 options. We have the ultimate sacrifice shawl. I can continue working on that. It is in progress. Then I can start on a new bucket hat. Got the yarns for it right here. Which is something I want to start on in any case within not too long. Or we can continue on my knit beanie, which is more than 2/3 done. But I still don't think I'll finish it in this setting though. But that would be knit, not crochet. I would say let me know if you have any preference. Are we going to work on a shawl? We're going to work on a bucket hat? Or am I gonna actually find forth my knitting needles, the inherited knitting needles, which is probably some cheap needles, but they do their job, and I'm not discouraged about them yet. I did find some different needles that I might want to obtain, because I think for the purpose of hats that they would be perfect, because they are very short needles, so that would be ideal. And I'm more than happy to start a hat. That is some colors I worked on back in December. I want to make a new actually of the same colorway, but I want to do one difference from what I did back then. And that is I want to actually hook size down, make the same amount of stitches to see how much smaller it will be. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, perfect. Chain 1, quarter, and then the last 20. What pattern I'll use for bucket hat? I'll use the Gabi bucket hat from Dini Made. That is the same pattern as I used for the bucket hat I did last week. The only difference is obviously this will be a brand new hat. I didn't start it yet, so this will be the very beginning. And this one will be a 3-colored one, a 3-toned one, because that is what I have the yarns for. If nobody else says anything, well then we'll do the bucket hats. That will also be. Normally I use the 4.5mm crochet hook, and this time I would use the 4mm if that's the case. Oddball says I had the same knitting needles as you. Used them for a bit. Then on KnitPick's Black Friday sale, I picked up a set from them. Their needles work with Knitter's Pride and Knit Pro cables. So that's nice. That is nice. I generally probably should look at something more professional, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure what and how I want to. 4, 5. We are getting closer. 10 double crochets left. And a chain 1 and sewing in ends. So yeah, I am debating if I should put knitting needles on my wish list. The real question is, would I need something more fancy? Because right now I'm just knitting hats, which I think is kind of okay. It's also for me to rediscover the art of knitting, I guess. So if I am right, we should have, yeah, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Oh, it's time to cut our yarn. That is what we have left. I started on a full skein, and we have a total of 2 grannies out of this skein, plus, well, whatever is left. But I have also some other where I have a bit left for the sewing in, which is probably what I'll be doing. That makes most sense to use those ends to sew in because they are shorter. So I'll probably, when I get started on, then start on that. The texture of those bothered me. You like slippery needles. I have to say the texture of the needles I inherited is actually quite okay. They are slippery. But I did have a small issue this week because the cable split from the wire split from the cable holder thing. Now I need to think for a minute. Should put it in here. La. Shouldn't I? No, because I didn't do it fully. I forgot the chain 1. Ah, crikets. Now I made a nice knot instead. But I forgot to chain 1. So I need to unravel a bit. Not much. Ta-ta! Okay, now we unravel 2. So we have 5 again, and then we chain 1, and then we pull. That's it. That was better. Only buy expensive knitting needles if you deep dive into knitting. Yeah, right now it's just hats, and I'm kind of happy with what I have. But I do not mind the thought of, and that is probably what I will do. No. I should have taken the top one. This is not really a good day for me to end up. God damn it. Sorry. My language is not children friendly right now. Swivel cable from Tunisian hook, and the non-swivel cables bothered me too. So that if they can turn in the cable, like in the joint. I think that's what you mean. So these are just regular circular needles with cables and nothing fancy what I inherited. Probably like I found a similar set on Amazon for like $30. Sabine says that Susan is right when it comes to knitting needles, so that's a good thing. Right now, no plans on, well, not plans on buying expensive cables for sure or needles. But I am considering getting like a short pair for clothing, because it's easier. Because I'll literally go insane with this short. Like, I want it shorter. I want to be able to. I lack freedom when I'm closing off with my current circular ones. Where the cable meets the screw part, it can spin. It mostly fixes the problem for needles coming off the cable. Ah, okay. Could be something. It could be something. I'm the type that when I really get into something, I'll just rather spend the money on it. And definitely like my crochet hooks. I don't know. I wouldn't call them expensive, but I really like these, which is the Clover Soft Touch, because of how the metal slides with the yarn. It slides really nice and smooth. Um, I only wish that the shaft was a bit bigger, but I like really how the metal is working with the yarn. And so far it's been good with kind of like any yarns I've used them with. Exactly. It's not good to fight against your tools. I already had to fix my gift. I can show you before starting on the bucket hat. So this, my friends, would be at the very last end of. It looks so funky. But it shouldn't be. Why is it so funky here? I don't know. This should be more like this. Yeah. Well, it will help when I block them. And if it doesn't, then I don't know. Then I might end up do something else with the rest of the yarn. Okay. Oddball says she once made this poncho and the squares need blocking so bad. Okay, good. Yeah, they do, because they look so funky. Goodness. I'll be good. I'll be fine. I'll be blocking. That is why I wanted to finish them now, because I can block them. I can block them this evening, and they can then stay on the blocking board for until the weekend or something like that. That's probably what I'll be doing. That would make sense. Yes, they need blocking so bad. It's really like, come on, look at this. I don't know what it is, but it's not straight, and my tension is the same all over. So we are back to the eternal nightmare with drops pattern, because if you stretch them a bit, it does look a bit nicer, right? At least, I think. Don't see the full, of course, so I should probably do a bit more like this, maybe. Bit more down. Ta, 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 ta. So if I really like stretch all the corners, it helps. Still not completely, but it does help some. So yeah, they really need blocking. So I now have 8, and you can see the size difference of them all are, I don't know what to think, but they need blocking. I have 8 pieces here, so 4 and 4, and they definitely need a little nice visit on the block. So that was granny squares, and I still have yarn left here, and some yarn left also, which is smaller than this, that I'm gonna use to sew them together, because obviously else I will have to change yarn pretty shortly after. So I am gonna put these away. Then I'm just quickly gonna find my yarn scrap. I have this bag where I put in yarn scraps. And I use these yarn scraps to fill up amigurumi, for example. If I make like scrap amigurumi, that's perfect for it. So, we did shortly talk about my knitting needles. It says here, let's say, I felt the same. How did I make such a funky square that isn't square? Yeah, exactly. I can totally relate 100%. So, just shortly to talk knitting needles. This, my friends, is my tube that I'm knitting on. It is very simple. It is a 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl. And I'm talking right now about knitting as if it's piece of cake. It's not for me. But it easily fits because it stretches. I love how these 2 colors work up. Like, gorgeous. But I still have a bit to go. I need it to be like 12 inches or 30 centimeters. And right now this knit piece is 24 centimeters, which equals 9.5 inches. So we have 2.5 inches to go. But this is the yarn I have left, and the blue has less than the purple by a little. I am measuring and I'm knitting, and when I think there is no more yarn left, I'll just end it up, and then we will see how much it can fold up, how much of a double brim it can get. That is my second ever knitting project, and the first I've done absolutely 100% alone so far. And I think it looks great. Few things that could probably be slightly better, but generally I think it looks really good. I'm pleased with this. So the issue I had is I have a really like small here, and what I find is when I have to close it, I find these are quite long, so it's difficult to actually decently close down. So I could probably option to put on a longer cable, and there this easier make the magic loop, right? But what I had was like I had just cast this on. I've probably worked, I don't know, like so much, like it was down here, and suddenly this wire had jumped out of this piece, right? So the knitting needle end here, this is kind of where they bend on one another. This is kind of the joining part, but the wire had jumped out of the joining part. So I tried to glue it. That failed. I ended up finding a type of squeezers, and I just squeezed it together really hard. It's not completely smooth, but it's workable. And as I said, they're cheap. So cheap inherited, probably been like less than $30 set of knitting needles from Amazon. I don't care. I never paid for them. I'm happy. It works. 6mm needles is what I'm using here. 2 times DK weight yarns. There is 80 stitches on the round, so 80 stitches cast on, 2 knit, 2 purl, 2 knit, 2 purl. That's it. It works okay, I would say. Yeah, I'm happy with the progress, but I still have a bit to go. That is maybe for tonight. I will see how far I get. I hope to have it finished for Friday's yarn talk, but if I'll do that is another question. We were gonna do some bucket hats. Here we have yarns. Oddball says, knitting looks great, thank you. Your set is different than the one I have. Where yours come apart is the point where the swivel cables spin. Yeah, I can imagine it's practical to have them spin if possible, actually. And Hella says she thinks the reason for the granny squares is because that the corner is made on the last row. Technically, you prepare for the corner on the second last row, but it could be the reason. Susan says now it's time to use double-pointed needles to decrease the top of hat. And I don't have any double-pointed needles, you see. So that will be on circular ones only. And that is why I wanted to get some needles where this piece, the actual needle, is shorter. And then still have them on the wire. That would be nice. I think that would work for what I want to do. 4mm crochet hook, I need to find a pattern because I do believe I start with like 8 stitches, or is it 10? I don't remember. Yeah, exactly. Magic loop. Instead of the double point needles, and that is the thought of it. But that's easier with a longer wire, so I'll probably knit them, like when I get close, I'll knit them over to a longer wire. Oddballs, I wish you absolutely safe travels to your appointment. I know it's bad weather at your place, so all the best. So, ta-ta, just finding the answer. So, I have something that I'm using already, so I'm obviously gonna continue from here. This is the colorway Aquamarina, colorway 2. It is all Linda Hobby's cotton 8/8 I'm gonna be using. It is a very nice soft cotton for cotton 8/8. I would definitely say it's garment worthy. So who knows, I may end up making a top of this sometime out in the future because I think it's nice. Then I have the colorway 4, which is jeans. And then I have the colorway Avion, which is a colorway 7. And I'm going to use these 3 combined. So this will be the main color. I'll have 2 stripes of this and 1 stripe of this. I do have an extra skein of this in here, in my back here. That's a full skein. An extra. I have no extra skeins of this, but here should be enough because I have more than half over from when I made the last bucket hat in this colorway. And then I have, I took 1.5 of these, but I also bought an extra because I wasn't sure if this would be enough. That's what I had left. So I bought an extra back then with my yarn haul, just in case that I wouldn't have enough. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So I'll start with this one, and then we will see how far I go. But that is why I have quite a few skeins in this bag. It's just because to keep a bit track of them, and then we'll see how far we get. I do actually have the weight scale, just for curiosity's sake. We'll need to push this one back a bit to have room for it. And we will see what it says. We have 21 grams left from the last time. So no, I wouldn't have had enough unless I made a size smaller because 21 grams is less than half a skein. It's 50 grams in a skein, so 1.75 ounces. So in this, there was probably like, I don't know, 0.8 ounces left. Sweet Martine can close down because it's going on the blocking board, and we are going to start on the Gabi hat, Gabi pocket hat, and it starts with a magic circle or magic ring, and then it says 10 half chain 1 and then 10 half double crochets into that magic ring. So we'll start by a magic ring like that. Just put that a bit away, and then 10 half doubles is a fair amount of half doubles, but that is what we're gonna do. But first we chain 1 like that. Doesn't count as a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So last time I made this, I used an 4.5 millimeter hook. So I know I am crocheting tighter than tension. But I want to see how this one turns out compared to, because the pattern actually says to use 3.5 millimeter hook. So I still upsized my hook, but the 3.5 millimeter I'll never meet gauge. Not a chance in life. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. Then it wants me to slip stitch into that first stitch to close the circle. So I'll do that. And chain 1, which doesn't count as a stitch. And then what I probably should do is to have a stitch marker. Because I tend to like to mark my start and end. So the chain 1, and then I need to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch all the way around. So that will be 1 and a 2 in that first stitch. And what I'll do now is basically mark that first stitch, because I don't need to keep track then. It's just there when I get there. So it's just for convenience sake, if that makes sense. And in each stitch around, I'll make 2 half double crochets. So the first round so far is simple, one would say. But yeah, I'd like to see the difference between those two hats. So therefore, this hat needs to be ready for when I go to Denmark next time. Because the other hat right now is in Denmark. My mom said it was slightly large for her. And I'm not sure if you want to keep this one or if she's fine with what she has. But I'd like to compare the two. So that is why I'm making this one. And I'm making this one the exact same amount of rows as I did the original one, just in a hook size smaller. That will be the only difference. I'm looking forward to see the actual physical difference between them. There will be some difference, but how much is kind of what I want to know, right? The curiousness in me. And really here in the beginning, I feel I need to tighten those starting stitches. It's a classic. Not sure how much we'll reach to work on this one today, because time is flying. So this should be the last stitch, because that was my slip stitch, and the slip stitch is not a stitch. I remember in the beginning when I started crocheting, often I mistook the slip stitches for being real stitches, and then my count went off. But I think everybody have had that at the very beginning. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Perfect. Slip stitch into the first to close it like that. And what we then will do is to chain 1 and then 1 half double crochet in the first stitch and then 2 in the next. So we just went into that, so that would also be the first stitch. We'll do 1 half double crochet. Then we will, for again convenience sake, I should know the difference, but just in case, the next stitch will work in 2 half doubles. And then we work in 1 half double, 2 half doubles, 1 half double, 2 half doubles. And that, my friends, makes another 10 stitches increase once we're done, because there are 20 stitches and we'll have 30 at the very end. I just now need to keep track that I'm not doing extra. But I believe we should be fine. So that is the current attack plan, and once we're done with that, I believe the next is 2 stitches and then 2 half doubles. Yeah. So far it's a reasonably simple increase, right? So that is what we are doing. Keeping it straightforward. Two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. This is also such a project that's so easy to take with you on the go. And I have another project I really should start on too. Oh my goodness. So then it's good that that the Sweet Martine poncho squares will be blocking for a few days. My my mosaics pattern has a blanket is also a little bit on the back burner right now because it just takes up so much space when I want to work on it, and a few other things have had my priority. I should really be better at dedicating it some love. The only downside with my new job is actually that in my old job, when there was nothing to do, which is not really a case anymore, I think, I could actually sometimes just sit and crochet when we're waiting for customers to call. I can't do that anymore. Which is also fair enough. I guess there had to be some benefit for the micromanagement they did. And there was also, the micromanagement was insanely crazy, especially when it got so busy, but that was just because they released software that didn't work. So of course all the customers went upset. Oh, sweet. I'll get that. Okay. My new workstation will be a MacBook, 13-inch MacBook Air. Woo! Try imagine going to a MacBook from a Chromebox. My goodness. I told my partner that my workstation would become a MacBook, and he was like, "Oh my goodness, is your boss rich?" And I'm like, "I have no clue, but it's a lot better than what I came from for sure." So, oh my goodness, many aspects are better than what I came from. I should have done that so much sooner. On the other hand, the good thing I had by staying until the last heartbeat, uh, until they moved all the activities, was that I did get a small bonus payout at the end because they were the ones canceling my contract. So that was nice. They have to pay you a certain amount based on your tenure, basically extra. And that would then require you to approve the fact that they are letting you go. Um, yeah. So this takes a bit, of course. That's I guess the downside. I always have the feeling that it goes so much quicker when. That's because those granny squares, they really worked up fast actually. Um, but there was also lots of change in those, so fair enough. Where this is much more dense material, it turns out into a denser fabric once done, so it's fair enough. Two, then we'll have to do two into one, two half doubles, and then two, and then that was another round. So laptop size wise, it's pretty similar to what I have actually, so that would be fine. Awesome. Awesome. I'm happy. Which also means that when I am traveling, it's going to be much less of a hassle to bring it with me. I remember in the beginning, so in the summer 2021, I shortly had a customer support job for Discovery, Discovery Plus, for the Tokyo Olympics. And we also had to work on a laptop for that. And that was like an old, slow 15-inch Chrome book. You can kind of hear Chrome was in the aspect of my old employer. And while it is nice and cheap, I have to admit that I very much appreciate the non-Chrome bits. That said, I have never worked on a Mac before. And I am used to um, Windows, but it might not be too bad once I get used to it. That might not get too bad. I do have an iOS phone. It's just I've always been used to Windows from youth, I guess. Also, it's a pricing thing. Windows is cheaper than Mac in general aspects. Um, but yeah, that sounds really like a pleasurable sized workbook. And if I can just tap any any mouse on, I only need to bring the one I have and work with. Technically seen, I don't need to take extra with me too. So yeah, I'm looking forward for that. It's kind of scary. This is the first time I've really looked forward to starting a job. Than I have in a long time. So 2, then 3 half doubles, and another 2. Good morning to you, Sarah. Wonderful to see you. We have talked about a bunch of nice and good things. I am in the fear of repeating myself, at least for those that's watching the whole stream, rewatching. But I am happy to do so because I think personally it has been an amazing day, an amazing week. Things are finally going the right way. It's good, right? It's good. So the weather for Minneapolis is rain with a temperature of 35 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 2 degrees Celsius degrees. Wind is blowing from east at 14 miles per hour. Current humidity is 87. That sounds not nice. It is very sunny here. It's a little bit sort of misty on the side, but generally it's been blue skies all day and high sun here, and like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's been really nice here. You'll watch the replay too. We can talk about the nice ones. I'm not sure what her says. She will take I think she means that she's going to take a little walk, which I think is a good thing. It's not that I'm going to be on a lot longer, like 15, 20 minutes at most, because, well, of time. It is slowly closing up to 5 p.m., which is usually around my magical cutoff time. But the good news today is that we have a final diagnosis for my mom. The diagnosis kind of is not good, but it could be a lot worse. So my mom has been officially diagnosed now with Hodgkin's syndrome or Hodgkin's disease, which is a lymphoma. So that is a cancer in the lymph system. The good thing about Hodgkin's is that it has a very good prognosis for treatment. So the future prognosis is good, generally speaking, right? So it could be curable. But we don't know yet because we don't know how my mom responds to everything, and we will have to see. But it's generally, the doctor sounded positive when we spoke with them earlier today. I was on a call while the doctor were there to get a listening on the differentiation and so on. So generally it sounds good. She will start treatment tomorrow. They will do a broad spectrum treatment. So she will get 3 types of different chemotherapies in one shot. And hopefully that will alleviate some of all the issues and even better, cure it. So that is how it's looking right now. So that is, even though it's kind of bad news because it's always not good news to kind of get the cancer confirmed, it is, of all the types that she could have, probably the better or the best. Like now when it has to be bad, it's good bad. Can that make sense? Like, yeah. So it is definitely the lesser evil of all the evils. So generally speaking, we are optimistic. Then on that note, I had my second, no, not second, I had my third Yeah, I know, crazy. My third job interview with the same company I applied to, you heard about it. Like I had a second interview, I think it was Friday, Thursday or Friday, and then I had a third interview Monday. Um, and after the third interview, they were quite happy and they wanted to check my references, and they were very good as well. My former team lead provided them a really good reference of me and my person, and that was enough for them. So they extended me a job offer. So I have a job and I will start my new job on the 14th of April, which is awesome because there's less financial worries, and it is part time. So I still have time to crochet and come live because I can work almost when I want. They prefer, of course, that I can do it within office hours, but I'll do that in the morning most likely. And I can do it remote, and they're fine with me traveling to Denmark for when I need to be with my mom and my family in these hard times. So actually, life right now is just going the right direction, if that makes sense. Everything, it made sense, right? The fact that I didn't get the job in February that I really thought was perfect because it was like 400 meters away from where my partner worked, and I could drive with him to work and just walk, and transportation would be easy, and I didn't get it, and it was a bit of like a bummer not to get it. But honestly, right now I have the feeling that it wasn't meant to be, and the job I have right here it's meant to be. Um, because it fits perfectly in with everything right now. And what we have been organizing is right now is like my workstation and so on. Um, so that is awesome, honestly, very nice. And yeah, uh, I just basically need internet to be able to work. Internet and my working station, which is going to be like a 13-inch MacBook Air, which I'm also like, oh, nice. Um, so yeah. Thank you so much. Sarah says she will be crossing fingers, squeezing thumbs, and saying prayer for your mom's recovery. I have the feeling all the prayers that you guys have been doing so far has really been helpful, if that makes sense, for all aspects. So yeah, it's been a really good week, I would say. Um, it's been a really good week so far. So yeah, everything is just going the right direction. And we are less in the unknown for my mom. It's still gonna be a rough coming period, but we will see. And of course, as soon as we have an idea. So right now she is admitted to the hospital because she didn't feel very well yesterday. And the lung department thinks that she should remain admitted for a bit until they kind of figure out what's actually causing her the lung issues, because it's not sustainable that they drain her lungs every 2 days, and they literally drain her for like a third of a gallon, or half a third to half of a gallon every 2 to 3 days. So that's obviously not sustainable. Um, and they want to see if they somehow can fix that. They also partially hope it will help with the treatment she gets, that it will uh, cause the lungs to fill up with liquid less. But yeah, overall, I would say it's good. We have 2 there, so it means I still need 3. So yeah, that I think, yeah, it's good. I also kind of feel like, it's been going so much. We have been patient. Life has not been the easiest the last couple of months. So with this is kind of sort of a relief. And yeah, it just feels like it's finally going a bit my way, if that makes sense. So yeah, I am absolutely stoked and kind of excited to get started on my new job. They also explained during the process, like if you have done everything you're expected to do during the day and you have hours left, well then good for you. Which I'm like, okay, so that could mean that I could actually also do my work in less than 5 hours, which could also be really nice, right? Let's see. I need to increase here. So yeah, life is good. So I'm working on the Gabby bucket hat. I started on a skein that I had started on back in December, because with the yarn haul that I ordered that arrived last week, the week before last week, I ordered a bit extra so I could actually finish up those colors and make one more. 224. So I should have here for 4. Yeah. So that I just bought enough extra to be able to make an extra, basically. And this was a partially used skein, which means that, of course, that it will be used up a bit quicker, which is nice, because we are also in a project of using up my stash, which isn't going that well if you look at the yarn haul I made, because that yarn haul really made the wrong dent into my decrease project. Sarah says, thank you for showing your yarn haul the other day. Love your color choices and combinations. Look forward to seeing how all the hats turn out. Yeah, me too. So this is a part of it, but I only had 2 of them. The colors I bought was one more skein of this. I had this one ongoing from last time, so I got an extra skein of this, which is this skein, right? I had an extra skein of this light blue, which I have actually 2 of, but I knew that one full wasn't gonna be enough. And then this one I had working on since last as well. So this is not bought in the yarn haul, but that is one more that is also gonna be in this as well, in this hat. But I'm expecting that I will use all of this up and start on the other as well. So there's that. There's that. Let's see, now I need to finish this row by slip stitching. Chain 1, and do a 1 single crochet, half double. It's all half doubles. I do though have 2 different hat patterns that I want to try out with the yarns that I have bought. So it's not all gonna be the same, but I do like these Gabby bucket hats, and the intention is definitely some of those Dutch colored ones to sell them. And then I have another project that I need to start on, which is a bit of a secret, just for a bit more time. And I can't wait too long on getting started on that either, so I probably need to work a little on it here and there. So I should probably get started, because I don't know how much time I'll have. So this hat I need to have done before I go to Denmark next, which I don't know when will be, but I first need to ensure, I think, that my work stuff is set up. I think that is currently the best plan. And 4, 5. And then I'll probably over Easter might end up being in Denmark. which is kind of sad because my partner is home during Easter. But it's not completely decided there. We will have to check what's easier. Increase 5, so yeah, I need to increase. I have to say this is nice once the increases are done, then there's also a bit less thinking. In the beginning with increases I need to do a little bit of counting. But it's generally an easy pattern. It's not the quickest bucket hat, and that is due to the density of material here. It's half doubles. But oh, I did have yarn split. But yeah, I'm fine with that. It's just a question of what you're used to. Let's see. Need to increase here. So what we'll probably do is I'll finish this row, and that will be around the time for us to finish this live, because I need to prep for dinner and boil some eggs. So I think that's, and also I can feel my hands are saying that they slowly need a bit of a break. Then after dinner, I'll be blocking granny squares. Because yeah, they seriously need some blocking. Oh my goodness, they are so disproportionate. But I wasn't the only one having that issue by the sound of it. Oddball said she had also made granny squares, or the same project, and she said her were also like anything but nice before the blocking. Three, 4, 5. So yeah, I am definitely also looking forward to see how everything turns out. And there is definitely some work for me to get done as well on that account. Of course, it's a bit thicker yarn, so it might actually go a bit quicker compared to some other usage consumptions. 2, 5, increase. I need to have a few more rows, obviously, of increases here. So we'll do another 5. That was 5, so that is the increase almost all the way around. 1, 2. Oh. You can also see that I don't have much yarn left on this, which we knew because it was an open skein that I started on. And then we need to slip stitch into this one, which is the previous row, and I'll insert the stitch marker in the loop so it's not gonna be running. So we are now on 5, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, or 6 rows of increases. Ta-ta! And that, my friends, is gonna be the crocheting for this live. What I should do is probably, let's see, get you guys back up to my pretty face, and then do like this. You just have a one face. Ta-ta! This is the amount of yarn left we have compared to a full new skein, which I have ready to go, of course. I'll probably needing a little bit more than an extra skein for the full blue part. Then I'll have a medium blue stripe and a dark blue stripe and a medium blue stripe, and then we'll have the shade again in and this aquamarine blue, which I think is a really gorgeous blue. I think it would be nice also with white. It's a really nice blue. So I started a new project. Hallelujah. And my 4mm hook really gets quite some love. I have the feeling I almost need to get an extra. Buy an extra, maybe even. And that is the label. For once, I'm done with this one. So what we got done today is I got the last 2 grannies made for the Sweet Martine poncho in this drops cotton light. This I'm gonna use to, once I've sewn them together, I'll have to crochet some stuff around, and of course I'll have to increase length. It is absolutely quite gorgeous poncho, I think. Let's see if I can actually just find it for a minute, just because it would be nice. Pop over here. This is the Sweet Martine poncho. As you can see, we have some granny squares here, and then there's some crochet bordering around here, which is what I'll need to make also. Also, there's on top here some crochet bordering around. I am debating on, depending on how loose this will sit, maybe to make an extra row on top here, but we will have to see. I should be fine yarn wise, but yeah, so overall we should be good, I think. Yeah, so bunch of grannies, they need blocked, so they are going on the blocking board tonight after dinner. And yeah, we did a little bit on, we did talk a little bit about knitting. We didn't knit as such, but we did talk about the knitting. It's quite an interesting construction. I definitely not the last time I'll try similar construction, but probably with different yarn and maybe different design, I could imagine. I think I could imagine that actually. So what am I gonna do is I am going to say that was it for this times live. If everything goes right, I should be live again on Monday, unless something happens last minute. I hope not, but you never know. I should be live on Monday. I'll of course be back with the yarn talk on Friday. We'll talk about all my lovely projects once more. And I'll be live Monday, and maybe even also Wednesday, if things go right. Yeah, it depends. And preparing for my new job. There's so many things going on. It's crazy. I'm almost hyper. So it was wonderful to hang out with everybody here. It was absolutely a great and wonderful day. So I'm going to say thank you so very much for hanging out with me. I definitely enjoyed my time, and I hope you enjoyed yours. If you are rewatching this live, thank you so much for coming all the way to the end. It is a very warming and supportive. I'm wishing everybody a nice week ahead and also a nice weekend. Thank you, Sarah. So yeah, Thank you for everything, and I'm going to say take care and happy crafting until this weekend. Bye.